there September 2nd at Indiana. That's the season kickoff show presented by the American Dairy Association Mideast, Monday, August 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. here on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to say body to the night. Roxanne.
Come on, come on. I told you I got you. Wanna talk about his game, he can talk about it. Tennis, match, golf, he can talk about it. Don't matter what it is, he can talk about it. Any sport dude, he know about it. Say your boy bum, don't doubt it. If he tell you that it is what it is. The real sports guy in the Sandman. Talk show game in the bag, man. Rep, don't have to throw the flag, man. Steve Taylor, Andy Sands. It's over, OVA. Game over, they don't play. From the fourth quarter to the ninth inning. NASCAR wheels keep spinning. To the 18th hole, he's still in control. Guy on the go. Coach never missing the play, cause he know the deal. This keeping it real. Sports. Come on. Keeping it real. Yeah. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. Keeping it real, sports. We are back. People, we are back. It is great to be back. And for our new listeners on ESPN Radio, on ESPN Live, man, thank you for joining us. Hey, Josh Burnham, special hello. He is our technical poobah. For people who have just checked in for the first time as we enter this new platform. But Josh, man, welcome. We thank you for doing all of the things that you do to make this happen, man. I know it's on the fly, but we thank you.
Hey, that's what radio's for. When you're learning on the fly,
all right,
you learn from your mistakes and you adapt real quickly, and hopefully everything will go smoothly on Keeping It Real because we know how to keep it real. I know you guys do.
Welcome back, Sam, man. Hey, man, thanks for amen. Amen. I know the vacation was nice on both of our behalves, man. We both kind of needed it. Man,
we did
a great platform that we have now, man. We do this thing that we call it hot off the press, where we kind of give you the hot news of the week. So without further ado, let's do it. We call it hot off the press.
All right, Steve Taylor. Well, there were a lot of choices this week, but this one I think was the most intriguing for you and I, right? I mean, Deion Sanders going to Colorado. There was a fight in practice, and not all the players were involved in the fight. And Coach Prime was calling out his players because of that. And everybody wants to get onto Coach Prime for that. And I disagree. I think he's right on. I think if you're trying to build a culture, if you're trying to build a family, if you're trying to build some competitiveness within, it starts there, Steve. It starts there.
Yeah, man, I don't think he was out of line at all, man. In fact, I kind of liked that. I understood what he was talking about. The people that are appalled, man, it's kind of the people that we talk about on Black and White, man, that cry all the time. Like, man, what are you crying about, man? Dude, look here, don't you want to win? Like, how many games did you win last year? You know, if you want to win some games, man, come on, man. Quit being soft. SOFF.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next we're going to get into a segment we like to call Quick Hitters.
Quick hitters.
All right, Steve. Well, the U.S. women couldn't get it done, but that doesn't mean that there's still not a World Cup going on.
Right.
And we got the final tomorrow at 6 a.m. It's going to be Spain against England. England's got a chance to bring it home. They seem to be a little bit of a favorite, but Spain has been knocking off powerhouses throughout this whole tournament. I think it's going to be one hell of a final. By the way, Sweden beat Australia this morning to win the bronze.
There you go. Well, look here, man. When I'm talking quick hitters, man, just to touch back on what we were talking about on Black and White just a minute ago, is Wander Franco in big trouble? Well, heck yeah, he's in big trouble. Man, I don't think the guy's going to play baseball again, and I don't think he should.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Speaking of the Women's World Cup team, Vlatko Andrinovsky has stepped down. He is no longer the head coach. Steve, he had no other choice. You can't take a team that was destined for a three-peat, go out in the round of 16, and keep your job. That's not how it works in that organization. So he did himself a favor before they canned him.
Yeah. What? And for UFC fight fans, tonight, UFC 292, it's going to be the Sugar Man. It's going to be against the Funk Master. And I'm telling you, I like the Funk Master tonight.
I know you'll be investing in that one for sure.
Man, come on, man. You know how we do it, man. You know how I love, man, striking sports, so to speak.
All right. So next we're going to get to something we call, oh, by the way, so that we don't forget a couple of other big stories in the world of sports. Steve?
Oh, by the way.
All right, well, we've got a playoff race going on right now in Major League Baseball, and it's a little early, right? But we felt like it was appropriate for this segment to get into it just a little bit. That's what this segment's all about, right? Oh, by the way.
Right.
Oh, by the way, Steve, the American League has a playoff race on its hands. In the East, you have the Tampa Bay Rays, the Baltimore Orioles, and you could say outside chance the Toronto Blue Jays, but I think it's a two-man race in the East. But in the wild card, that's where it gets really interesting because you have Houston, you have Tampa Bay, you have Toronto, you have Boston, you have a couple of other teams. You have Seattle right now who's holding that third playoff spot because they've gotten hot all of a sudden. So I'm really interested to see who ends up taking these final playoff spots. I will go on record and say this. Cleveland will not make the playoffs, okay? They're not going to make the playoffs. They don't have enough offense, and even though they might have one of the best young pitching staffs in baseball, they're not going to catch Minnesota, even though they're only 4.5 games out. It's not going to happen this year. So I will say.
Interesting. Well, oh, by the way, there happens to be a race happening in the National League as well, the senior circuit, if you will, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And the Atlanta Braves is the best damn team in baseball, man. But
watch yourself.
Dodgers?
Watch yourself. The Dodgers have won 12 in a row.
No, they lost last night.
Okay, well, 11 out of their last 12.
Yeah, but, they lost last night. So, but lurking in the weeds happens to be a team that's in Cincinnati, Ohio, that might be a little dear to my heart, the Cincinnati Reds.
Yep.
And we'd be all right, man. Good pitching performance last night. This the rookie's second start. He gets a shutout last night. Encarnacion Strand hits the walk-off, the only run of the game, as they win it 1-0. So there you go there. So
yeah, and the wild card's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, the damn Cubs, man.
There you go. I mean, that's a team nobody expected to be in the discussion. Everybody thought they were going to be a seller at the deadline, and here they are right in the thick of it. Not only for the wild card, but the division as well. Milwaukee hasn't pulled away, Steve. So those three teams, 2 of the 3 you got to think are going to get in, right? One way or the other.
Yeah. So there you go, man. Oh, by the way, dude, let's get into NFL storylines because NFL training camps are in high gear.
Well, the biggest signing so far has to be Dalvin Cook, right? I mean, you kind of knew it was coming, but Steve, you and I both know he doesn't go there if Aaron Rodgers isn't in New York.
Well, bro, I'll put it like this. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The whole thing, man, where else was, The Dolphins, maybe. I really like Dalvin Cook to the Jets, but man, to me, let me ask you this. Let me slow down and back up.
All right, we got time. Slow down.
How much of an impact do you think Dalvin Cook is going to have?
I mean, it could be a significant one, Steve. He's one of the top 5 backs in the NFL. I was really surprised to see him leave Minnesota because I thought they had something special there last year. And he was a big part of that. I mean, he's the reason I think Kirk Cousins was so successful last season. Because they had the play calling of Kevin O'Connell gave them the balance of the run and the pass, which was what was missing in the past. And they weren't utilizing Dalvin Cook enough. Last year, they changed that. And he's also improved in his pass catching out of the backfield. So I think he has a big impact. But I just don't know if the Jets have enough on the offensive line. That to me is where I question what is going to allow that offense to be successful. Steve, they have so many weapons, right? They have tight ends. They have wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, et cetera, et cetera. But, and everybody's just assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to go there and take them to the playoffs.
And there you go.
Are they forgetting what division they're in? Let's start there.
Let's go there. Well, then that gets us to our next NFL storyline because Zeke Elliott goes to the Patriots. Now, is that a big deal to you? Because I tell you what has been stellar. It's been the defense of Bill Belichick, period, in the story. Because if you check, they're in top 3 in every category that you make defensively still. And you can't name one guy off that defense other than possibly Matthew Judon.
Right. I mean, that's why when we were talking in Black and White about Bill Belichick and the nonsense around Bill Belichick, the defense alone is why Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick. Okay?
Right.
So let's stop that. Just stop that. I think this is a good signing for New England because it takes some pressure off of Mac Jones. And now we get to see if Mac Jones is who they think that he will be. Because he's going to have a running game, a little bit of a running game. Now, This is not the Zeke Elliott that got drafted. Let's clear the air on that, right? This is a different Zeke Elliott. He's been banged up. He's been injured. He's further along in his career. But, Steve, if he can stay healthy and they have enough of an offensive line to be successful, then I think New England can have a say in the division at some point. Do I think they'll make the playoffs? I don't think we'll go that far. But I don't think they're going to be a below 500 team now because they got Zeke Elliott.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So I tell you, who has pressure on them is the Dallas Cowboys. But their pressure is a little less now that Zach Martin has joined. A lot of noise going around in Cowboy camp. This is a big deal, man. You just got to call it like it is.
Yeah, it's a huge signing. I mean, no question about it. They had to get this done to protect Dak Prescott, right? I mean, that's what it's all about because it's put up or shut up time for Dak Prescott, Steve. Enough is enough. Zeke is gone. You got Tony Pollard now, so you have an semblance of a running game that you've been looking for. You've got the weapons on the outside and CeeDee Lamb and other guys that are over there as well. It's put up or shut up time. The question I have about Dallas is the defense. To me, that's where we're going to find out.
Man, the defense is dope, man. That's not one way. I ain't going to let you get away with that one. Now, one question I don't have is the Dallas defense. It's that guy wearing number 4 where the problem comes in at. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
I'm just saying, bro. Look here. Talking about quarterbacks, how about this one? Indianapolis Colts done said, we've seen enough. Anthony Richardson is our guy. Is this a good move for the Colts?
It had to be the only move, Steve. You drafted him 4th overall in a draft where everybody said that was too high. Listen, he's a talented young man. He didn't play a lot of college football. But are you really going to start with Gardner Minshew as your day one quarterback when you drafted this guy 4th overall and he's more of an athlete? No, you're not. So this, to me, was the only decision for them.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All righty, so there you go. That's NFL storylines. Now, people, let's get into our college football portion of the program. This is where, man, we don't give a darn about what the Associated Press has to say. We surely don't care what the coaches poll have to say. We break this thing down for ourselves. So what we're getting ready to do in here is give you, first off, the top 5 impact quarterbacks, because you can change your program immediately with a good quarterback. So I've got 5 schools that look to change their fortunes via the transfer portal. So let's look at that. But we're going to get into college football. College football transfer portal. Andy, we've got a lot of movement, man. Nowadays, man, the quick way to fix your hurts is the transfer portal. We've seen a lot of teams doing that, and a lot of schools doing that. Right now, my top 5 quarterbacks that I expect to make an impact right now, man, it's got to be Sam Hartman of Notre Dame, man. It's got to be Sam Hartman.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, that was the biggest one. But Steve, let's look at those top 5, right? You got 3 of them there. Let's take a look at all 5, because there's a lot to talk about here. So we got Sam Hartman going to Notre Dame, DJ Uiagalelei going to Oregon State, Shawna Sanders going to Colorado, Tanner Mordecai to Wisconsin. That scares the living crap out of me if I'm an Ohio State or a Michigan fan. Right. That's a big deal, Steve, because they always have a running game. They always have a defense. They always have a wide receiving core. And now they have a quarterback. And, oh, by the way, they have a new head coach in Luke Fickell. So they got 2 transfers essentially there, because the coach is going to make a huge impact on that team. And they have to be the favorites to win the other side of the Big Ten. No question about it.
We had Kevin Mullen on the show yesterday. And Kevin Mullen is from SMU. So Kevin Mullen saw up close and personal what Tanner Mordecai can do. Mm-hmm. And Tanner Mordecai, for people who don't know that name, this kid threw for 10 touchdown passes last year and ran for 1, okay, in 1 game. We have a segment that we called that dude. He was definitely that dude that week. But Tanner Mordecai is a problem, man. You know, I had a guy ask me, I think Sav said, but Steve, who did he score the touchdowns against? Sav, he scored 11 touchdowns in the game. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter when you put that many up on the board, right? You know, and then Devin Leary going from North Carolina State to Kentucky, you know, in an already loaded SEC. I'm really excited to see, you know, how successful these guys can be. But Steve, Ohio State could have to play 2 of those 5. Do you realize that?
Well, yeah.
If they get to the Big Ten championship, they have to.
Well, they're going to have to play. Yeah, they're going to have to play Sam Hartman in week 4. Yeah,
exactly.
Week 4. Yeah. So there it is.
So big test early for the Buckeyes. No
there you go. So, man, the big question, man, has been who is really deserving of being number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it took us a while, but we put our heads together to come up with a list. And Hightower, I hope you like this list. I know my sister's going to like this list. But let's get into our top 10 teams in the country. This here is the Keeping It Real Sports top 10. And people, you can follow this. This is posted on our Keeping It Real Facebook page. Please like that, because we've got that going on. The Keeping It Real Sports Facebook page. Get on that. You can catch all of the stories and everything, catch up on what's going on, all of that good stuff. But let's go ahead and start this thing up, man, with number 10.
All right, Steve, we have at number 10, not the national media, not the coaches poll, we have the Texas Longhorns. We see something in this team that others don't see, and it starts with the quarterback.
Yeah, Andy, man, the whole thing is Quinn Ewers. It's Quinn Ewers. He's a big arm kid that can throw the ball down the field. What we see is Bijan Robinson. The running game has moved on to the NFL. So what Sarkisian is going to lean on now is the passing attack and the ability to push the ball up the field. If Quinn Ewers can't get it done, well, then there's Arch Manning in the fold, ready to take over for him, of Manning fame. So the Texas Longhorns, we see them as a big threat. We see them as number 10 in our poll.
All right, number 9. We're going to go out west for this one. We've got the Washington Huskies. This is a team, Steve, that can push USC, push Oregon State as a possible winner in the Pac-12 before it disbands and USC ends up coming over to the Big Ten. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother show. But right now, they had a hell of a season last year. They just couldn't get the signature wins they needed to. But, Steve, it all starts again with the quarterback, and you got to look at Michael Penix Jr., the transfer a couple years ago from Indiana.
Yeah, when you look at Michael's got the ability he's a triple threat quarterback. He can run it, he can throw it. This guy has the whole package. His ability to extend plays, man, is what makes Washington so dangerous. And they have 14 returning starters coming back. They have the big play threat, Odunze, the wide receiver. He's back. The 2 tackles are also back on the outside. The Washington Huskies, man, returned that many playmakers from a team that went 11-2 last year, man. This team I expect to make noise and to be a big threat in the Pac-12 this year.
And they've got a lot of speed, too, so you got to watch that as well. All right, number 8. Are these guys coming back into the fray, into college football? Really, Steve? Florida State, we've got them at number 8, 10-3. They've got another key returning players as well. And we believe that they're going to jump above Clemson in the ACC this year.
Well, when you look at Florida State, man, you have to look at their ability to be able to run the football. Their returning quarterback, Travis, can also make the deep throw down the field. They have, man, a lot of playmakers, but, man, their ability to just flat out punch you in the face is what makes Florida State, man, come back. Mike Norvell finally has the type of team that he wants. You really want to pay attention to the Seminoles.
All right, let's pick up the pace a little bit. Number 7, we're going to go back to the SEC, or going to go into the SEC for the first time, I should say. And, Steve, the national media have these guys outside of the top 10, not just the top 7, but outside of the top 10. Completely disrespectful, in our opinion.
Yeah, you spot on that, man. I mean, Joe Mixon coming back to the quarterback. These guys returned 13 starters from their team as well. And the plethora of playmakers that they have on the offensive side of the ball. Man, they have 4 wide receivers that can really hurt you. But I tell you, the scheme of Tennessee is being copied, man. You better pay attention. Tennessee, number 7.
Yeah, and Josh Heupel's one hell of a head coach, too, and a great play caller. But the team that has to pick up the pace and keep the pace with them are the LSU Tigers. And Jaden Daniels is the key to this offense.
Jaden Daniels and his electric nature, he can score from anywhere on the field using his legs, and he has the playmakers over the top. Neighbors, he was an afterthought last year, but he's not an afterthought this year. He is one of the top playmakers coming back in America. Man, these guys can strike from all over the field, and what you like is how they've started to wind into SEC-type form. Man, LSU, number 6.
All right, number 5, we've got USC and everybody's preseason Heisman pick and Caleb Williams.
Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, guy won Heisman last year. Look at the deep ball he throws, man. Well over the top, man. He has a ton of playmakers, and USC has taken and adjusted their roster via the transfer portal for their defense, because they never had problems scoring the points. They had problems keeping you off the scoreboard. They won't have that this year, man. They have a ton of playmakers. Man, look at the escapability of this kid. He's able to throw the ball down the field, man, and just make plays when you think there aren't none to be made. USC, number 5.
All right, just out of reputation alone, Steve, they've got to be in here, right? I mean, they just keep loading up. It's Alabama once again.
Man, whether it's the learning or the teaching, man, of Alabama Crimson Tide. Nick Saban's ability to teach and develop players has molded a lot of NFL-type players. Well, this is going to be his biggest season now, whether he can take that and move it over to the field. He has guys that can make plays. That quarterback that he has now is a locomotive. He can run you over or he can run past you. I kind of like when I think Milroy will be the starter when it's all said and done. But, man, Texas and Alabama football, that's kind of why we, man, keep them respected at number 4.
Number 3, we're going to go to the Big Ten, and the team that should have won the national championship last year, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother show. But, Steve, they've got too much coming back. It's all going to come down to the quarterback. Who is the quarterback, and can they play to the level expected out of them at Ohio State?
Well, to me, I think the quarterback play is more so Devin Brownish, man, because I like Devin Brown. That's why they haven't named a starter. I think Devin Brown is giving McCord all he can handle and then some, because you know, if you're a Buckeye fan, you know that if you play the cards right as a Buckeye quarterback, you're going to play by seniority. Well, that hasn't happened for McCord because Devin Brown is giving him the business. But there's a lot of playmakers back, one being your guy, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, the best receiver in the country without question. But until they beat this team, you got to put them ahead of them, and it's that team up north, Steve.
Well, too many playmakers, man, for you not to respect them, man. Blake Corum coming back, man. Donovan coming back, man. Edwards, the running back, not to mention the quarterback, man. They have playmakers all over the field, man. The Michigan Wolverines are definitely a problem, man. They are legit. People, don't sleep on the Wolverines. They deserve to be number 2.
And back-to-back national championships earned them this right alone. It's got to be Georgia, Steve. Undefeated 2 years in a row. The only question everybody has about this team, believe it or not, it's the quarterback.
Well, one question we don't have is who will be catching the football. They've got a Heisman Trophy-esque tight end, Bowers, that'll be back. He's an All-American. And then that defense will also be back. Man, they are very opportunistic, take away, score the football. The Georgia Bulldogs are now the new man to beat. They are king of the hill, even though the Buckeyes didn't win and probably should have won. The Bulldogs showed their mettle, and they were able to win the championship. That's why we respect them. We have them number 1. So there you go. That is our Keeping It Real Sports top 10.
All right, let's look at it one last time. So we got Texas at 10, Washington at 9, Florida State at 8, Tennessee at 7, LSU at 6, USC at 5, Alabama at 4, Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 2, and Georgia at number 1. All right, Steve, before we go, we've got one last thing we have to talk about, right? We have to talk about it. It's the FedEx Cup playoffs. The second to last golf tournament of the season, and it's turning out to be a dandy. Max Homa in the lead at 10 under. Stevie had 10 birdies yesterday alone, broke the course record with a 62. He has a one-shot lead, though, so it's not a runaway.
There you go.
And Rory's only 5 shots back, so keep an eye on him as well.
We got to get out of here, man. So for Andre of the Savages, man, for making this all possible, man, we thank you, brother. Salute. Josh Burnham, we appreciate you, man. For the Sandman, I am the Real Sports Guy. Until next time, we wish you love.
And peace.
Chuck them deuces.
What'd you think?
Not bad. Not bad.
Oh, you got to end the broadcast.